Hey, Space Nation. Today we're talking to number 6 on the leaderboard, Jeremy. He's got a really cool backstory, but even cooler job. I'm excited to share this interview with you. Let's get started. Alrighty. Hold on. I lost my place. Hi, Jeremy. How you doing?
Very fine, thank you. Hi, Aaron. Aaron with two A.
Yeah.
I'm very fine, thank you. Yes.
So we've been talking for a while, and obviously the recording's just starting for everyone else. But there's some really interesting stuff about your past and your story. Obviously, we probably don't have all the time in the world for you to explain your full story, but I would love to hear a little bit more about you, what you do, and kind of how you've gotten to where you are right now.
Hi, everyone. Hi, every space navigators. I'm Jeremy from France, 40 years old and a weightless flight surgeon. Lucky enough to be in that cool job. And sometimes I'm working for United Nations, aeromedical flight surgeon too, for peacekeepers in war zone. And my core is a family doctor. At first, I was a family doctor here in France. So 10 years ago, I became an aerospace physician, and I'm lucky enough to work with French chapter of Space Agency for research campaign in microgravity science, and to be a zero-G instructor because its weightlessness is very, very cool to experience. And it's difficult to talk about, to put it in words, but it's very incredible experience. And I'm so happy to share this experience with everyone, to see smiles on every face, to see the most serious adult becoming child again in the plane. So yes.
And just so everyone that's listening knows, Jeremy's being humble, but there really aren't that many people that do what he does. So he obviously is on hand in any of these parabolic flights that you go up. You've seen YouTube videos or whatever, where you see the planes go up and there's like a few seconds, 20 seconds or so of weightlessness. He's on hand for French agency there. He's on hand if anything goes wrong. He, is basically trained to, handle surgical issues, medical issues in a weightless environment, which is a very interesting specialization and really cool. I think we're all a little bit jealous, but that's basically what it does. So Jeremy, how many weightless flights, you mentioned this to me before, but how many weightless flights have you actually been on?
I'm a little weightless flyer because for a zero-G instructor, I'm 350 parabolas. So in a research campaign flight, it's about 31 parabolas for a flight. In discovery flight, it's 16 parabolas. So 350. It's one orbit around it's the equivalent in many flights of one orbit around the Earth in 92 minutes. We have also reduced gravity parabola, very interesting to feel the moon and the Mars gravity. But a lot of zero-G instructor or staff in Novespace are thousands of parabolas, 8,000 of parabolas. So I'm very at the beginning of that professional experience.
Well, I'll be honest. I'm jealous of your 350 flights. That'd be awesome to be able to experience that. And I'm sure there are a lot of others that are like that. But that is so cool. It is so cool to have, I think, someone like myself who is, marketing, business background, just has a passion for space, and maybe has devoted my professional career to something else. But it's really cool to know that we're on the same list. We're learning the same things as someone who is, who has a lot more professional experience, is closer, at least closely related to space, and you know a lot of people, astronauts and things like that, because you've been able to meet and be introduced and talk to some of them. So it's really cool to know that we're, part of all of us are part of this community.
Thank you so much, Aaron. But actually, I'm here in the list like you because I try to put my passion for space since early childhood, as many of us, everyone, I think, in that list, in the professional side, because I want to work and as close as possible to space-related things. But it's a personal passion, and I'm lucky enough to to have the 2 feet, the personal foot in the space as a space geek, but the other foot as a professional, and I'm feel very grateful for that. But it started very long ago when I was a young child, and even at the age of reason, it's not reasonable to think about flying in space, because only 558 people flew in space to date. Only 10% women. It's a pity. And so I wanted to do things because it's meaningful. I became a family doctor because my passion is for human, to understand human, to take care of human, the humanist philosophy. But of course, I became an aerospace physician because of space-related passion. And actually, human space flights converge all my passion for human, for knowledge, for learning, for science, for exploration, for philosophy is in there in the human spaceflight program.
And I think that's really inspiring to hear someone with that kind of story, where obviously there's only so many opportunities to be an astronaut as exists today. But you've found a way to kind of combine all those passions and something that you can feel like you have an impact on humanity, which I do feel like is something important for all of us. Waking up in the morning and not just being happy about what you're doing, but knowing that what you're doing has meaning. And, combining all of that to say, I am happy where I am. I think that's really inspiring to hear that from someone like yourself. Yeah.
Definitely.
So moving on to the next question then, is a little bit more focused now on the Space Station Navigator app, because that's what really binds this whole community together. When did you start Space Nation Navigator? When did you download that app and get started? And maybe how did you hear about it?
In January 2017, I read a paper about the Space Nation Navigator of a Space Nation. So, because I'm a space nerd, I've loved a timeline of my news, timeline with that. So it was very early, but I have a lot to do professionally, and so I download and I start to play the Space Nation Navigator on May the 4th. Be with you, when the iPhone operating system was available for my iPhone. I start to play at this moment. It was early May the 4th, I think, or something like that.
Okay, that's really cool. So that's early on. I think I was on a couple weeks after you. And you gave a really good synopsis of why you did that, because it sounded like you were actually interested in almost creating something like that early on.
Yes. Something as little as a smartphone to start training and to become the first astronaut school, actually. That's the first step of the first astronaut school. It's not reasonable when you are a child to think you will fly in space, because very few people have done that, and because you have no astronaut school. But now we have in our pockets an astronaut school.
And I like the way you described that, because it's probably been referred to like this. I don't know that I've heard it referred to as this, but I like the idea of thinking of it as an astronaut school in your pocket. And I like that. I think that phrasing really does encapsulate what it is. And by nature, something where you can go to school and your phone, and for being an astronaut, it really does make space a lot more accessible to a lot more people. So I love the way that you framed that. So a follow-up question to this will be, what is your favorite Space Nation Navigator mission?
Definitely is the quizzes. I like the quizzes. It's easy to make my quizzes a few minutes in between some professional things. Quizzes. And I've lots a little advantages about some quizzes, but not every quizzes. I learn a lot about survival skills, but I'm a medical doctor. I learn a lot of in many fields. I like the paper plane. For the game, I like the paper plane or the team synergizer, for example.
But actually, that's really cool. So I think this will be an interesting question for you, because you're someone who has a lot of skills and you're using a lot of astronaut related skills in your day to day, obviously being a doctor, but is there something that you feel like you've really learned from the application, going to astronaut school here in your pocket? Is there something that you feel like you've learned that you actually use in your daily
Yes,
life?
yes, I like so much learning. So Russian language. It's not. I'm not able to speak in Russian, but to start with Cyrillic letters and to be familiarized with Cyrillic letters is very interesting to me because I have a lot of Russian friends, and it's difficult. And I worked with an Ukrainian Russian-speaking crew when I was in the war zone. So it's interesting to get used to, and survival skills. Camping ashes, for example, it's very interesting to me to learn.
It's something that you need to know, maybe.
Like that.
And it is fun to just learn stuff, just to be more educated. I think you have to enjoy that to really enjoy the app, because so much of it is about the education aspect of it. So if you enjoy learning and if you enjoy knowing things, knowing more things, then you're going to naturally enjoy, the quizzes part of the game, for example.
Definitely.
So that totally makes sense. And the next thing that I like to ask, in this, may resonate a little bit more since you have some experiences here, but the next thing I want to ask is about space in general and potential space travel and, the reality of potentially going to space. What is the thing that's potentially the most intimidating, and on the reverse side, the most exciting? So if you can imagine yourself sitting in a rocket getting ready to go to space or suborbital space or whatever it is, what would be that thing that you're like, oh, this is a little intimidating or scary? And then what's the thing that's like you just don't care, pushes you through, and you're super excited to see?
Being sitting on the launch pad with all this explosive stuff, it's very, very, very dangerous and intimidating. But it's exciting at the same time, and you have to be very, very prepared. And when you are very prepared and you are able to run toward your fears, everything changes. It's very, very interesting to overcome fears. Fear, it's in your mind usually when you are prepared, when you are the mindset to overcome every hurdles and stimulated by that. I love the intimidating things of space flight. Actually, the reward of exploring is far better than the fear to leave your comfort zone.
It is dangerous, and no one in the right mind should be doing that. But potentially, it's that excitement and that optimism of exploring space and all that will really push us past it. I think you hear that a lot. A lot of people say that, yeah, this is nerve-wracking, but I'm going to do it anyway because X, Y, or Z. I'm so interested in these things. So I think we all share that. So the final thing I kind of like to end on, or at least focus on, is the community aspect. And there are a lot of people that, we're constantly seeing people's names on our leaderboard as we're, getting more points and, we're ranking up the leaderboard wherever that is. We see people's names. So I've seen your name. I've seen, Yvonne's name. These are all people that I kind of want to meet and I kind of want to interact with and compete face to face. Is there someone like that for you where, I want you to tell me one person? I know you want to meet probably everyone, but give me one name. Give me one name that is someone that you really would like to interact with and compete with, just because that name is stuck out to you.
It's very hard, your question, because I want to meet everyone. Of course, I'm curious about people, and it's not the same for me, the virtual connection and the exchange when we can have on social network. I love the in-person because of the non-verbal and you put what you want in your social network to have a sort of mask. It's very difficult to say a name in particular. Mikolaj is a Polish guy I want to meet for a long time because he's a Mars enthusiast and is on the leaderboard. I don't know exactly where, but we have lots of chats before, and I want to meet him in person, but I'm very happy to meet in person everyone. What is very interesting, we are in sort of competition on the leaderboard, but cooperation is very, very important. So it's very important to find the right balance. Once again, competition is to push the envelope. It's to try to do your best, and it's stimulating, but you have to cooperate, and we have to be very, very diverse. So I'm not sure, okay, I'm a space professional involved with it, I'm a medical doctor, but it's not the important things in such an endeavor in Space Nation Navigator. Is the access for anyone. If you have the right mindset, if you want to learn, if you have the motivation, you will learn the skills you need for your mission.
Thanks for answering the question. Mikolaj, I've seen him comment on a few places online and stuff, so I'm actually really excited. Hopefully I can get him on the channel as well. I'd love to talk to him. But generally, I like to end off just like opening this conversation to you. So the floor is yours. Is there anything you want to add?
I'm a little bit idealist, and I think it's important to me is to unlock the world and to put humanity in a new perspective. So this kind of awareness, of global awareness, is very important. Space program has this kind of potential to make humanity as a whole in a unity. Today in France, it was a big. We have just after the final, you have a unity. Everything is in joy, and just because a balloon and football, it's great things to see that. And I hope to see that worldwide with something like space program.
Yeah, I think that would be really exciting. But thank you for taking some time to talk to me.
Aaron. Thank you so much.
I did. I really appreciate it. I know that we've spent a while on the phone, but it's been really cool to be able to talk to you. You can share some experiences, and I think if everyone listening to this is kind of like me, they feel probably more inspired having heard your story and hear some of the things that you do on a daily basis and your perspective on all this. So again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Aaron. You are doing very well for the community thanks to your channel. Yeah.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this interview as much as I enjoyed conducting it. If you did, you can go ahead and hit the like button below the video, share with friends, family, whoever you think might enjoy it, and subscribe by hitting the red button. And if you're on Twitter, you can find me at Aaron T. Burnett. Also search Mars Walker. I use this account to share tips about things like weekly adventure, which really can't have a full video devoted to them. Until next time, keep ranking up your points, and I will see you guys at Space Camp.